Hey, today I'm talking about my most disliked old films of 2025. So they were films that I watched in 2025 that were released prior to 2025. This is out of a total of 243 old movies from across the year. Buttons. This is a piece of shit. 2018 film starring Dick Van Dyke and Angela Lansbury and other people you'd know. On IMDb it's titled Buttons, a new musical film, but then also like the cover is just Buttons, a Christmas Tale. It is a Christmas movie and it is a musical. It's also terrible, which I was not surprised by when looking at this poster. This poster did not instill any sort of confidence in me whatsoever. And then the film started and yep, was exactly what I was expecting. What's the premise? I don't even know. What does IMDb say? Follow the heartwarming journey of two orphan girls whose only wish is to find a home for Christmas. With a little help from their guardian angels, Dick Van Dyke and Dame Angela Lansbury, they discover miracles can happen when you believe. Which they do say that last bit at the very beginning of the film in text in the sky, but it's also on screen at the same time as narration is happening and right after all the company logos. So like you don't even realize that something important is on screen and they don't give you time to actually read it because your brain is focusing on the narration that's happening, which is like a very good way of describing what this movie is, which is trash, which is they don't know how to make a movie. There is constantly music happening in the background because A, they're trying to cover up a lot of the incredibly terrible performances that are happening. Not all of the actors, but a lot of them. But then also the terrible direction from the director. Like there are shots that linger for such a long time that are not shots that need to be lingering. And then Angela Lansbury starts reading to one of the orphan girls and it's just this shot reverse shot, but it's over a very long extended period of time. And like it's a really awkward angle of the girl, like you're just like looking up her chin. And Angela's shot, I guess, is fine, but it's like it's just these two shots for a 5-minute conversation. That's a long time of only seeing the same sort of thing. There was one point too where like the girl's shot was starting to drift and I was like, oh, what's about to happen? And then it cuts away from her and I realized, oh no, that was just the camera operator accidentally moving the camera. It wasn't an intentional movement. And like I said, this is a musical and I knew that going into it, but yet when the first person started singing, I was so taken aback. I was like, oh shit, what's happening? God, was it not good. And then he got the second song, which had some dancing in it. I get Dick Van Dyke is really old, so you can't go like super fast paced anymore, though he does do like one little section that's a little fast. But it's like they were going at slow-mo rehearsal pace and forgot to actually speed it up for the live take. It's so janky and it's clear that they want to be like inspired by old-timey musicals and dance moves, but they're just not nailing it. I would easily compare this to like a high school production, definitely just like half-assing it, but yet somehow they got a lot of famous people to be in this movie. Also, I'm not sure if my TV is broken or if a lot of the dialogue just wasn't actually synced up with the lips. I'm not entirely sure there. So yeah, no, this movie is very bad. I don't recommend it. If you really, 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 really love Christmas movies, then maybe, sure, I guess, as background noise when you're in a different room and you can't actually hear the TV, yeah, then I think it'd be okay to have on. But to actually watch and enjoy, no. Just no. Twin Sitters. This is a 1995 film. Oh my god. And, okay. The premise, according to IMDb, is a business executive is releasing dangerous toxins, and the Barbarian brothers set out to stop his evil work. This is just a live-action cartoon. It's so silly and ridiculous and just not my vibe whatsoever. Pretty quickly, this is rubbing me all the wrong way. But that being said though, I could see people who would enjoy this film. Like, yeah, I'm not a fan of this sort of thing, but like, if you like a zany stuff, real Looney Tunes-esque things, this could be right up your alley and really strike a chord with you, or at least be an enjoyable experience. I mean, zany is the perfect word to describe describe this film. It's so silly, but it was just too much for me. So like, I personally didn't care for it, and it's in my lowest ranking, the didn't like category. But this is one of the rare films that I would still recommend it if you think this could be up your alley, because like, it knows what it's doing, and if you're the target demographic for this film, it could be a home run for you. I could really see that. So yeah, I didn't care for it, but would recommend it only if you think this is your vibe. It's potentially worth checking out. It is free on YouTube, so yeah. Double Trouble. This is a 1992 film, and the basic premise is one brother plays a cop who, for whatever reason, is always wearing like a crop top sweater of the Oakland Raiders, even when he's on duty. I don't know why. Is that a reference to something? Like, I get Oakland Raiders are a real thing, but I mean, like, why? What is he? Why? This is so weird. And then the other brother is a cat burglar, but they're forced to team up together by the cops' bosses to thwart some crime stuff. Now, structurally, I would say this movie is sound. Like, it definitely goes through kind of like buddy cop tropes and hits all those things at the exact right time. Like, it's moving on to the next scene at the right pace. That being said, though, the movie ride or dies on if you find this funny, and I did not find it even remotely funny. Like, oh God, I can't really even describe it. It's just the exact opposite of things that I find funny. And like, I really stuck it out. I really tried to give this movie a chance, but like, man, it was just not my taste. I will say, it feels like there was supposed to be a bunch of nudity in this, just from like random women and stuff. And I really think that's what this movie was lacking, was just like some spice, just some fun other stuff that's not just the brothers doing what they think is the funniest shit ever. Because like, there are a number of women in the film, but they kind of just either die or like just get tossed to the side and never come back again for whatever reason. So yeah, I think that's definitely a missed opportunity, just like some more fun story stuff and also some more like sexy stuff, because like, they do gratuitous shots of their muscles or like working out stuff, so like, this isn't above doing exploitative things. And it's just kind of strange that they didn't do more like naked women, because there are a number of like scantily clad women a couple times, but again, it's very few and far between. So yeah, I didn't care for this movie, and I wouldn't recommend it. I could maybe see this striking a chord with certain people, but like, that's hard for me to say, but I don't think it's gonna be most. So I wouldn't recommend it. It's not really worth checking out. The Godfather Part III. This is a 1990 film, and it was just made because Francis Ford Coppola needed some money. Fun times. And man, I knew this was going to be a mixed bag going into it. I hadn't seen this one before, and I did not have high expectations going into it, and did it kind of hit those expectations? How do I even describe this film? So it takes place years later. Michael's kids are grown and they're having their own issues, and there's some other family stuff going on, and it's just, I don't know, I just couldn't be bothered with the plot. I just didn't care at all. I hated Al Pacino's hair in this. Like, this is supposed to take place in 1978, and to me, his hairstyle just screams the 90s. Well, I mean, really, it screams you cut off a Barbie's hair, and it's just like the fuzz that's left over. Like, what are you doing, man? You do not look like a 1970s mafia Godfather guy. And then you got Sofia Coppola, Francis Ford Coppola's daughter. Wow. Wow. She's so bad. She is so bad. I can't comprehend how she is as bad as she was in this. Especially because, like, she's working with her dad. This should be such a natural, easy experience. This isn't her first film. She was in the other Godfather movies. I mean, just as very minor things. But she's been in a handful of other films and projects prior to this. She should have, like, the basics of acting down. I don't even have the words to describe how bad she was. I'm sure people who are actually trained actors could more so break down the nuances of her terrible performance. But hot damn. So yeah, no, I did not care for this film even a little bit. I wouldn't recommend it even as like a morbid curiosity. It's just a really not good experience. Apparently there have been a couple re-edits by Francis Ford Coppola, with his most recent one being like, oh, this is the closest to our true vision. I didn't watch that version. I did this one. I got this as a present like 10 years ago and just finally got around to watching it. But I don't think there's any amount of like slight tweaking you can do to fix the fundamental problems of this movie. So yeah, no, I didn't care for this movie. I don't think I would care for any re-edited versions of this movie, and I don't recommend it. Ready Player One. Let's start with nice stuff. So, Steven Spielberg directed this. He knows how to make a movie. He knows how to make characters you care about, make adventure and action exciting. He knows how to do emotions well. He knows how to nostalgia bait you. He can tell a really good story. He absolutely should not have directed this movie for so many reasons. At its core, this movie is a nostalgia movie. I don't really care for nostalgia movies in general, but they can work. The issue is, Steven Spielberg does not have nostalgia for the things that he is making a movie about. He does not love 80s pop culture. He was making 80s pop culture. He doesn't give a shit about video games. He likes technology, yeah, but I'd be amazed if he played any of the games referenced in this for more than 5 minutes. So like, the heart from the creator of the movie is not there because dude does not give a shit about this. This movie shouldn't have been made by a boomer. It should have been made by a nerdy Gen Xer. There's a lot of things that I can complain about with this movie, but what I'm gonna focus on is the very end of the movie. Literally the last lines of the film, because that's the note the filmmakers want us to carry with us as we go back into the real world. Because those lines are the biggest middle finger to you, the audience, I've ever seen. It's so insulting and condescending and just, I can't believe you did it. And it's also just so tone deaf. Spoilers to the movie. The kids win the day. They get in charge of the Oasis. They make 3 big changes. The last change is they close the Oasis down on Tuesdays and Thursdays because the only reality worth living is reality. As he smooches with this beautiful woman. In other words, the movie is telling you to stop being such a nerd, stop playing all these video games, go out into the real world and kiss a woman. Okay, firstly, that's counterintuitive to the entire story they just told, because the only reason these kids saved the day is because they were the biggest nerds out of all of the nerds. They were insanely obsessed with this guy's life and all of the things that he was obsessed with, to the point of they were able to figure out all the riddles and stuff. So like, they would not be in the position that they currently are in if they would have listened to the advice that the movie is ending on. If they had not obsessed over this game, they would not be billionaires and they would not have come together as a community and all that other bullshit, because they would have spent too much time off in the real world being sad and depressed with the terrible capitalistic society that they live in. So that's part of why it's dumb. But it's also so incredibly tone deaf because the beauty of online gaming is because life pulls us apart. We move across the state, we move across the country, we move across the globe. But with online gaming, we can still stay connected to those people on a regular basis. We can come home from work and hop online and be hanging out with our best bud. So even though you live thousands of miles apart, it's like you're still right next to each other hanging out on the couch, and that's so beautiful. And then on top of that, there's also the aspect of you can make friends online and meet these people from across the globe that you never would have met had it not been for this game or this experience. And that's just so cool that we're able to connect the entire world in such a way. And like, the characters in the movie do that exact thing, and that's so cool. But they also very much so ignore the fact that a big constraint of this is travel. Someone living in Wisconsin, me, I have friends in Australia, I have friends in England, and like, I'm not rich, they're not rich. Odds are, if I do get to see them in person again, it's gonna be like once or twice in our life. And so the only way we can have a relationship is through these games, through online communication. And like the movie saying, go out into the real world, guys, it's implying that those friendships are inherently less valuable because we're not face to face with each other, which is such bullshit. Like, those friendships mean so much to me, and I would easily put them on par with friendships that I have in person. Who are they to fucking judge that shit? Thirdly, again, this is something that they talk about within the film, but also very much so ignore, is the freedom of an online avatar, insofar as people with disabilities or physical deformities. So they have it in the form of Olivia Cooke's character. She has this, basically just a giant freckle on her face. She's still an incredibly gorgeous woman. They just gave her the tiniest little nothing scar thing. The main character just immediately dismisses her insecurity. He's just like, you're you're still beautiful. And like, yeah, she is still very beautiful. But like, there is this incredible freedom that exists when you have a negative physical trait. Because in real life, whenever you're out in public, even if you're with friends who don't give a shit, there's still negative vibes out there. Like, you are judged everywhere you go, even by the people who love you, because that's just the way our brains are hardwired. We're designed so that we see something that's different and we're fearful of it. We see someone that's sick or hurt and we're like, ooh, stay away from them because that could hurt us. And that has helped us in the past. But in modern times, these people aren't a danger to us, so we're just hurting them for no reason, and that's tragedy. So these people are able to create their digital avatar and look just like anyone else. They're able to just blend into a crowd. No one will give them a second look unless they intentionally want them to give them a second look, like, you know, dressing up sexy or whatever. So like, there's this incredible freedom and just weight that's off of their shoulders with this ability to just be normal. And that's such an incredible gift that online gaming can give to these people. It's so beautiful. But again, the end of the movie is just like, nah, you have to go out into the real world and face the harsh reality that exists out there. Deal with your disability, otherwise, I don't know, you just gotta. And it's, no. Yes, people have addiction problems to online gaming. They're chronically online, but that's just addiction in general. This is not a unique issue to video games. This is an issue to people for everything. Anything in excess amount is bad for us. Water is even bad for us in excess amounts. But just because there are people who have problems with this thing doesn't mean you should dismiss it out of hand. That's just such a boomer thought process. And obviously I hate that. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the book ends. I imagine it probably ends actually in a similar way, but I'm not talking about the book. I'm just talking about the movie. And that ending is such a giant slap in the face to not only the story that they were telling, but to their target demographic. No, you're wrong. This is a beautiful world. What the f is wrong with you? So yeah, no, I still did not care for this movie on a very fundamental level, and I wouldn't recommend it. Yes, I see how people can enjoy this movie. Like, there's so much nostalgia in this movie. It's easy to get wrapped up in the fun story, to care about these characters and their emotions and their struggles. It's neat, it's pretty, it's cool, but at its core, it's just wrong. Also, like, tonally wise, there's so many horror things in this movie, and it's like a little kid's movie. Why the f is The Shining in this movie? That is just the most tone-deaf, dumb shit. Like, what the f, man? I get it, you love Stanley Kubrick. Who doesn't? But you don't put the woman in the bathtub into a children's movie. No. Oh my god. Anyways, yeah, no, did not care for this movie. Don't recommend it.